Johnny, live from the conference room at my apartment complex. Right outside, I'm looking at a floaty that looks like a ginormous llama in the pool, but nobody cares about that llama crap. They care about debate amongst friends. Me, Jock Leesner, the podcasting beast, and you, the Professor John Gotti, the King of Orange, the Troll Master, the Data Analyzing Ninja, the Conqueror of his own destiny. That's right, the newly formed Terminator. Yes, yes. Get your brooms, your mops, your squeegees for the cleaner.
I'm a fun guy.
Ain't no sissy, yo.
Podcast. Wow. I thought you said we were going to say that on the podcast. Best podcasting machine. Tranquilo Doc El Idolo, freshly squeezed. Podcasting beast. How are you doing?
Freshly squeezed indeed.
Just like the new one? I like that one.
No, that's good. It's like just like grapes. Yes, sir. I am doing well. Thank you for asking, of course. But we had some basketball, sir. We had some basketball indeed. Dennis Schröder, sir, turned down millions of dollars from the Lakers. Millions of dollars to take less money to go to the Celtics?
When betting on yourself goes wrong, ladies and gentlemen, yes, sometimes when you bet on yourself, you end up having just adulation, glory, and even more money. Well, Dennis Schröder, unfortunately, bet on himself a little bit too hard. And he kind of, ended up on tilt. Doc, 1 year, $5.9 million as a mid-level exception. Turning down an extension offer, 4 years, $84 million to stay with the Death Star that is known as the Los Angeles Lakers.
So it must be not the money, as Dion would say, but it must be the opportunity to be a starter that he must be after.
He was the starter.
And that's where it gets kind of tricky because you think about it, they bring in Westbrook, and maybe you said that he turned down this deal before Westbrook.
It was before the Westbrook deal.
So maybe the Lakers had no plans on trying to acquire Westbrook until he turned down the deal. I mean, that's the only thing I could think of, because you think if you give him $84 million, you can make that deal.
I mean, the problem is, if they was able to make this deal and go over the cap without having to worry about any penalties.
Right.
Once they made the Westbrook deal, them being in the red turned crimson. But it just turned straight crimson. But I think the problem was it's maybe the culture. I mean, I know people don't want to talk about it. They don't want to hear it because he's the king. But maybe the culture isn't as good.
Well,
heck, for all we know, maybe Dennis Schröder had reads and he was like, if I sign this offer, I know it's nothing more than trade collateral.
True. Could it be possible to playing style? Because you're talking about the Lakers, obviously playing through LeBron, playing through Anthony Davis. Obviously now the three of them are going to play off of each other. Obviously Westbrook, Davis, and LeBron. But maybe the Clippers. Wow, the Clippers. Maybe the Celtics. Lord Jesus help me. Right? have a playing style, right? Have a playing style that fits what Schröder is looking to do. They like to get out and run. Maybe that's more of the style that he wants to get into. And the Lakers just weren't doing that enough. That's the only thing I can come up with. Maybe, getting away from, the style in which the Lakers play. I just feel like maybe he just wanted to play for a different style. I mean, obviously, he said this is one of the best franchises in NBA history, and he's going to be proud to put on the green and white. But what a massive cut in at a time where you don't know if the salary cap is going up or down.
Exactly.
So,
Yep.
I mean, all we can do is wish him the best of luck, right?
I mean, he was the same person who's supposed to succeed Jeff Teague out in Atlanta, and that didn't turn out very well. And he kind of,
right.
I want to say this is his fourth team.
Yes, because he was on Atlanta, he went to OKC, Lakers, and now Celtics. He was hoping to land a $100 million contract. I remember we talked about that a couple of weeks ago.
Yep.
He obviously struck out and probably should take that $84 million. Now he really, really has to dominate in order to get that next big contract, or he's really just stuck on these shorter, smaller deals, making 10 to 15 million here and there.
But that wasn't the only signing that happened.
True.
Former Knickerbocker is no longer a Knickerbocker, and Knicks fans are delighted and elated. Elfrid Payton.
So, Elfrid Payton is a dynamic defender.
Very good defender.
With great ability to get to the rim. He doesn't exceed. He's a good ability, I should say. Not a great. He has a good ability to get to the rim. So he's an okay shooter, not the best, never been the best. But defending, that's something that he can do. I think with Phoenix, I think they're getting someone who is going to help them increase their defense, which is what they really needed. Obviously, they lost Torrey Craig. They lost freaking PJ Tucker. So bringing in an extra defender is something that's good. I'm not sure. I'm looking at the landscape of some of the moves that people are making, and I mean, I can see where some of them are really great. Others, I'm scratching my head a little bit, but I think the Suns are making pretty good moves. They're very careful with the personalities that they bring in.
Yep.
Team first guys. So that's the one thing I can say about the Suns is that they're sticking to their guns.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see what he does. I don't think they signed back each one more. So that's interesting.
Yeah. And again, I mean, some of their players, I don't think they were really using. And I like each one more.
I do too.
I like,
I mean, we know of each one more. If you are
right.
Those who were St. Peter University fans at the time.
Right. Right.
They only had six people. They only had six people.
I didn't want to go there, but
of course, this makes, of course, in hindsight, that Evan Fournier, deal seem much more tame in hindsight as well too, because people were talking about how much that was a bad deal, but this guy was looking for 100 now, 100 mil. I mean,
yeah, that's too much.
Exactly.
It's too much it's too much for a player that hasn't
made an all-star team.
Yeah, it's like, when we watch The Last Dragon and there's that one part in the song where it's like, when you reach the upper level, like when you get the glow, right? When you reach that upper level, right? That part, upper level, right? Your mind, body and soul will be one, right?
Yep.
When you reach the upper level in the NBA, your salary will meet your talent here. You know what I'm saying? Like, but right now, I
In
mean,
most cases, because
yes,
we had some dingers out there.
some moments, some moments. We had some moments where some people, got paid. Jeremy Lin, Mozgov. Like we talked about some of them things, right?
Yep.
We won't talk about some of the other people. We've been there, we've done that. But you reach a level, you get paid.
Agreed.
But I don't know.
But someone reached that level, and he got paid.
A couple people reached that level. A couple of people reached that level, and then some. And now teams are like, you know what? Instead of waiting on my hands, let me pay it forward, right? Because the salaries are going up. The salaries are going up. So let's skip the hoopla.
Hoopla!
And let's go ahead and re-sign our players that we know we want to keep. There's no question about it. We know we want to keep them. And that first person, Luka Doncic. I mean, it's a no-brainer.
It is a no-brainer.
Now,
of course, he needs to recover from the Olympics. But
he has time. I mean, he has time.
Yes.
Yeah, he has time. And yeah, I'm just going to say that. He has time. But Luka did sign a $207 million deal, the rookie Supermax extension. Would you think about that? So before, I think the max contracts for rookies probably would have landed them around 150, 160 million. But I've never even heard of this rookie Supermax extension. Like, this is so unheard of. So
it's not unheard of if you think about it. Because
no.
Because think about it. What was the problem within the NBA?
I mean,
the people that they drafted, they don't stay.
That's true.
So they had to find ways to incentivize them to stay.
Well, and I think this is more than that, though. This is a little bit more than that because we're talking about he still would have got paid.
Yeah, he still would have got paid.
I guess because he exceeded, and this is something that the NFL does also as well, which I'm appreciating. Like if you're drafted between, I think the 4th and 7th round, you get incentive pay for exceeding your draft slot, right?
Yep.
So most rookies aren't going to be eligible unless they dominate for this $207 million. And I think this includes making the all-star team, being an all-star, make all-pro, all this other stuff, all NBA or first team NBA. Like Luka's dominated this.
Yeah.
For the last couple of years.
He's been an MVP candidate since his first year.
Right. So in that situation, it makes sense.
In the conversation.
So in that situation, it makes sense. Like, hey, this guy should be eligible for the Supermax extension, even though he's a rookie. But most rookies aren't getting this opportunity. They're going to get paid, but it's not going to be 207. It's probably going to be around that 150, 160. Like that's going to be the max amount that they'll be allowed to get paid.
Yep.
And that's the one thing I like about the NBA is that if somebody exceeds their expectation, even though he was drafted, relatively high, yeah. But he still exceeded.
The whole, him and Trae Young debate, which is stupid.
I mean, that's the one thing I will say about our not even generation. I think just people in general is that it's never just two people just playing, right? It's always a competition. It's like, oh, is this person better than that person? Or, like they're both great players. Obviously, you look at the first top 3 picks of that draft, and I mean, they're all great players.
Yep.
Right? So we shouldn't take away from them in any way. we should appreciate them, right? We should just appreciate that draft, right? Young, Morant, Tatum, right? I mean, that's good company. They're no scrubs,
Nope. And we
right?
had plenty of scrubs.
Right. Yeah, we have plenty of scrubs. DeAndre Ayton. I mean, maybe the Kings regret their pick. But Marvin Bagley was a stud coming out.
He still is really good. He just plays for a really bad franchise.
Yeah, he doesn't. I don't think they use him correctly, and I think that's why he should be wanting out. But Luka
Which
Doncic
is,
going three,
what we were saying about Buddy Hield and
right?
De'Aaron Fox as well too. Like they
Exactly.
have pieces, but the organization has been in disarray since they got screwed.
Big time. But when you look at those first 5 picks, I mean, DeAndre Ayton, Marvin Bagley, then you have Luka Doncic, Jaren Jackson Jr., who's also coming along, and then you have Trae Young. So it's like when I look at this and I say, okay, you have these solid players. There's nothing, and the doc means nothing wrong with this person getting paid. Obviously, DeAndre Ayton, Marvin Bagley, Jaren Jackson, they won't be eligible for the Supermax. But they're going to get paid.
But I also still feel like that's more because of how All-Stars is being voted and how All-NBA is being voted too.
That's true. That's very true.
Because All-Stars is a popularity contest, and All-NBA
big time.
If you're not within that top 5 percentile of players, you ain't making it on that list.
Agreed.
And you can have an amazing season, but you ain't going to make it to that list
unless you're MVP Caruso.
We're going to move on, folks. The other person that we're going to talk about.
It's actually two. It's actually 2 people because I forgot about this one, and this is on me. The first person is Kevin Durant.
Thank you.
Okay, that's the first person.
You got to say it right. Gold medalist Kevin Durant, because of course those in the sports world are now on their knees praising.
I mean, KD, listen. This isn't KD's first big money.
It's not his first Olympic gold medal either.
Yeah, so that's why I'm not too worried about, saying gold medals. Like, I know how people, they say, once you obtain your doctoral degree, right, you want to be called a doctor, right? I'm not going to sit around here and call somebody a gold medalist for the rest of their lives. I mean, that's just not something that I would do. But Kevin Durant is a phenomenal basketball player. Team USA was a phenomenal team. I mean, no AJ Styles, but they were phenomenal. But Kevin Durant signs a 4-year
Kevin Durant
extension.
Was 50, 40, 90 in the Olympics.
Which is nuts. But expected.
And is now the all-time leading scorer in U.S. men's basketball history.
And to be honest with you, I don't usually even bother with that because I feel like obviously the more you participate in the Olympics, the more points you're going to score.
Exactly.
And every year there's somebody different. So, I mean, that's just something that's going to always be broken. And that's the only thing I always am hesitant to even worry about that.
But 50, 40, 90 is really, really
impressive. Oh, no.
Like
it is. It's super, super, I mean, really, really impressive. But he gets a 4-year, $198 million extension with Brooklyn. The first extension of their big 3.
Yep.
So the organization has said, okay, we're going to put our money on KD first.
I think they're being smarter with how they're going to spend their money. I think they're going to try to keep this core together, but they're going to be smarter. That's what I think. It's not 100% sure.
Honestly, I wouldn't.
On how much money James Harden is willing to be without.
But it's not even that. Honestly, I think it's going to be more of which of the two are we going to keep between? Because you think about it, this is the second time Brooklyn has been in a situation where they've had these aging stars, right? We've been here before.
We have. Well, I think it was different with the Boston Big Three. I think that's a totally different situation.
But if they think about it, if they extend them to 4 years apiece, how old is Kyrie? Kyrie is what, 30? Actually, Kyrie's 29.
Yep.
So you think about it, you give these two, I think James Harden's 30, 31. So you give them all 4 years apiece, right? You're talking now 35, 34, which obviously this is the prime.
Of course.
But they've also mortgaged a lot of their future in these deals, right? They traded a lot of picks away.
Yep.
So this is it. Like, if they're going to re-sign these three people, they're saying this is it, and we have to build a team around undrafted free agents, the summer league, the G League. This is what we have.
Veterans minimum,
buyout candidates.
Yeah. Which,
so it's
again,
going to be interesting.
If you're going to be completely transparent, that's essentially how LeBron James' career was.
The whole career I agree. Wholeheartedly. And I know the Rockets have taken full advantage of the buyout market when they had a chance. So I get it. So here we go. We have Kevin Durant. But we'll see what the Nets do. I'm curious to see what they do. But the other person that I didn't want to skip over, because this is a major feat in professional basketball, because I believe, based on what they said, he is the first person to ever really get this done, and that is Stephen Curry's second max contract.
Yep.
4 years, $215 million to stay with Golden State through 2026. So I definitely didn't want to skip over that. It's smart of them. Hey, we want you, Steph. Obviously, there are some trade rumors where the 76ers are saying we want Ben Simmons. I mean, I've heard that. I don't know how likely it is.
I don't believe that.
Because they're trying to figure out if Ben Simmons and Draymond Green would work together, or would they have to choose one or the other. Plus, Ben Simmons makes a lot of money.
Yes, which is why I'm not believing that at all. That would be the opposite of what they want. Because
it should be the opposite.
Because then they would have to put in Draymond in that deal.
They would.
They would have to, because they essentially both do the same thing.
Yeah, and I think Draymond,
and Draymond's a way better defender.
Yeah. Although he's a little older, I do think Draymond's still more efficient, obviously, than Ben Simmons. I think the 76ers, obviously.
This is where you have to separate. This is a top player versus, a utility knife type of player, which is more beneficial for your franchise.
Right. Honestly,
do you want the ticket sales because people want to see Ben Simmons in a Warriors uniform, or do you want to, try to run this back with, the three core? And now you just brought back in Andre Iguodala. I think you would go with the latter.
I don't know. I'm going to say this, and then I'll move on to one of the last notes here. I would like to see, based on what I've seen so far in the Summer League, I would like to see Ben Simmons team with Cade Cunningham in Detroit. I know it's unlikely, but I think unlikely. Cunningham, Simmons,
it's
and
not
Grant.
Completely unlikely now that I think about it.
Cunningham, Simmons, and Grant, I think, would be the forming of a versatile big three that would be really, really amazing to see. And then they have some other players that are really, really talented. But I would like to see that if people are listening, which I believe they are. But that would be something good. So the last two things here are three things. Justice Winslow signs a 2-year contract with the Clippers, which gives them a pretty solid scorer, not the greatest scorer, but a pretty solid scorer and a pretty good defender. He's still trying to find his way through the ranks of the NBA. Yesterday, we had the battle of the first two picks of the draft as Cade Cunningham and Jalen Green went head to head. Obviously, with the Rockets winning that particular game, they both scored 20-something points. It was pretty interesting highlights. A lot of threes. Of course, Step Back University is still in full effect. This just in, as we are recording, the Seahawks have cut Aldon Smith after his charge with second-degree battery in April, and also put in a offer for Jamal Adams to mull over. So hopefully they put enough dollar signs in there.
I think they'll keep Jamal Adams, Aldon Smith.
Well,
unfortunately,
they put the offer out. I don't know exactly how much it is. It doesn't say, of course, no details, but they've offered him money. We'll see if it's enough for him to consider staying.
The fact that they just lost Aldon Smith, that's Unfortunately, his career has been just a roller coaster.
Right.
Yes, but he's a really, really good player, but he just can't behave.
Agreed. And my own last personal news here, the Rockets rookie Usman Garuba, who played for Spain, has finally dealt with his buyout from the team and will be joining the Rockets soon. That's awesome. But I know you heard this podcast on your favorite podcast platform. And if you didn't, you can always go to our website at www.debateamongstfriends.com to review this episode as well as all of our previous. Be sure to tune in tomorrow and Monday through Friday at 4 p.m. where we go over all the news, all the analysis, and the reads.
And that is how the cookie crumbles.